welcome to Good Games Spawn Point, the show for gamers by gamers. I'm Bajo.
And I'm Hex.
And I am D.A.R.R.E.N.
Today we have a look at one of the most popular games in the world and one of the most requested for us to review on Spawn Point, Clash of Clans.
We'll also get some serious airtime with the sensational bike stunts of Trials Fusion.
Warning, high wind area.
As hard as you may try, natural gravitational forces shall always win.
That's true, Darren, but it's always fun trying to master it.
Okay, Darren, I think we're ready to have our brains tested.
Fire up those neurons, it's time for Darren's Challenge! This week I'm asking, who is the pilot of the SS Dolphin in the first two Pikmin games? I'll reveal the answer at the end of the show.
Oh, that's a tricky one, Darren. Must remember, must remember.
Don't strain your brain too much, Bajo. It's time for the news with Goose.
Thanks, guys. Goose here, ready to serve up the latest from the Spawn Point news desk. The joint project between the United Nations and Minecraft continues to help people in poverty-stricken townships. Most recently, the people of Haiti's Lake Hayes have used the game to reimagine the region's flood-stricken waterfront. The UN said local fishermen have built seawalls and public toilets within the project, allowing them to better visualise the community's needs. Classic games and paintings have been brought together by American artist Dan Hernandez. Dan was inspired by Mega Drive games including Golden Axe, Altered Beast and Street Fighter II. He combined them with biblical elements such as Noah's Ark to create this striking range of artworks to be displayed in New York. Now that's what I call a masterpiece. And that's all the news, and in record time. Back to you guys.
Thanks, Goose. Okay, guys, it's time to take an overdue look at Clash of Clans.
Clash of Clans is a free-to-play multiplayer strategy game. Players are given a small plot of land to build their base in. They must protect it from other players and build up armies to attack others. It first came out in 2012 and has since gone on to become one of the most popular free games in the world. Despite being free, it's estimated that players currently spend several $1 million a day on in-app purchases.
It's crazy popular, isn't it? And I'm starting to see why. I was surprised at how much strategy is in this game.
Oh, affirmative. There is a single-player campaign you can work through, which offers up a series of increasingly difficult bases to raid, but it's much more profitable to attack other real players. Unlike most strategy games, though, you have no direct control over where a unit moves or what it attacks. Instead, units simply have a preferred type of target. Most attack whatever is closest to them. However, some specifically target defences, walls or loot. All you can do is decide which units to include in an army and where and when to deploy them in battle.
It's quite simple, but it leads to some deceptively deep strategies for both attacking and defending.
Yeah, and defending becomes a sort of passive tower defence game, doesn't it? You do your best to design a solid gauntlet of walls and towers to hopefully keep attackers at bay. But you don't take any direct part in it because players can only attack when you're not playing the game.
Yes, you basically wake up every morning to find your base raided. It is cool though how you can watch a replay of the attack to see where your defences crumbled.
And I really liked how quickly you could take revenge on them.
There really is no perfect army or base design, however, and it depends on what's more important to you, resources or trophies. Resources are needed for buying troops and upgrading your base, while trophies are needed for climbing the leaderboards and are given out for either successfully raiding another player's base or successfully defending yours.
I think trophies are something that people tend to worry about once they're at a higher level and they've built up their dream base. At the moment, I just like to build up armies of goblins to try and steal people's precious resources. I don't really care if I win or lose the raid.
Another thing I liked is the constant drip feed of new strategies that come in as you level up. Every time you upgrade your town hall, for example, you get access to more bits of defensive equipment, which can completely change how to best design your base.
And as you level up your barracks, you'll get access to more powerful units, which all bring with them their own strengths and weaknesses. It's constantly adding new things to the mix.
And after a little while, you'll be able to rebuild a clan castle, which lets you either create your own clan or join another one. Once you're in a clan, other clan members can donate troops to live in the castle and come out to help protect your base when you're attacked.
But the main reason to join a clan is, of course, the clan wars.
Yes.
These pit two clans against each other, and every player in each clan gets a version of their base copied onto a war map. Then you get 1 day to try and cause as much damage as possible to an enemy base. The clan that causes the most damage wins.
Yes, it's another thing they've done quite well by at least giving you something to do regularly. So while you might have to wait a few days for a building to get upgraded, in the meantime you can quickly build up some armies to go on raids or join in with a clan war.
And it's good to see that there's not that many premium items.
Affirmative. The only useful building that costs gems to build is the builder's huts. More builder huts allow you to have more buildings being built or upgraded at any one time. You get 2 huts for free, but you can have up to 5.
Yes, it's good to see that nothing is walled off from those who don't want to spend money, but you can spend money to speed things up if you choose to.
You can also earn free gems through completing various challenges, as well as by removing bits of junk from your plot of land. Bits of junk spawn in every 8 hours too, creating an unlimited, if slow, supply of free premium currency.
You know, Darren, I think this game is actually quite generous compared to other free-to-play games out there. So why is it so many gamers around the world spend so much money on it?
Well, I think that there are multiple psychological factors at play, Bajo. Humans are naturally inclined to want to invest in a hobby that they enjoy. The fact that in-app purchases aren't overly intrusive or necessary can also make you feel more willing to reward the developers. Also, the strong social and aspirational aspects can create a desire to compete and build the most impressive base out of anyone.
Fascinating and comprehensive analysis, Darren. I'm always wary of these kinds of games, though, where they teach you how to spend premium currency in the tutorial.
Yeah, it can feel quite manipulative when they deliberately slow your progress down to try and make you pay to have fun.
Yes, but ultimately I think there's a decent balance here. And the best part is there is actually a decent strategy game underneath as well. So I'm giving it 7 out of 10 rubber chickens.
I think the reason why this game has been so successful is because people really just genuinely like it and want to invest in it as a long-term hobby. I think if you've got the patience and the commitment, this can be a lot of fun for you. So I'm giving it 7.5 out of 10.
Those cartoony graphics remind me. It's time for the D.A.R.R.E.N report, my special report on cell shading. Well, I'll leave you two behind here.
Sure.
Have fun.
Interesting.
Time to do a real
Cell
show.
shading.
Cell shading. I like cell shading.
Yeah, it was like comic books, isn't it?
Yeah.
Hello and welcome to the D.A.R.R.E.N report. Today's topic is cell shading. Cell shading is a graphics rendering technique that makes video games look like cartoons. The name is a reference to celluloid, the special sheets of film that old-fashioned cartoons were made out of. Animators would paint on thousands upon thousands of these cells by hand. Making a cartoon takes a lot of work, but far more than making live action. Cell shading simulates the look of a cartoon by taking account of light in a simplified fashion. The 3D objects are rendered with thick black outlines, and their coloration is smoothed out to imitate the crisp and simple shadows you see in 2D cartoons.
Everything okay, Birdie?
Now it is!
As games have progressed, the trend has been to make graphics more realistic, more lifelike. So why have game makers sought to imitate unrealistic cartoons? It's because sometimes the graphics in today's games have become too realistic. As computers have become more powerful, they've become capable of rendering more and more detailed graphics, more complicated objects, more intricate lighting. The problem is that all that detail can make games look too much like the real world and far too complicated. Too grey, too dirty, too dull.
I mean, that ain't gonna change my mind, but if it makes you feel better...
All right.
Games are supposed to be fun. Cell shading is an antidote to the realism blues. Sometimes less is more. And that's a wrap for the D.A.R.R.E.N report. Thank you, you're too kind. Back to you, Bajo and Hex. Thank you.
Thanks, Darren. Very informative. All right, Bajo, straight into these questions now. The first one we have is from Import Question, SOS Import, from I'm in Everybody Do the Flop, which is in Queensland, apparently.
Sounds important.
This is really import in maybe life and dife. So anywhere, so with the PS4 and Xbox One, Do they did the internet to turn on to play because all I want to do is play games on it and also with have no internet? P.S. Lol smiley face. Say it like Megamind. Oh, P.S. Lol smiley face. P.S.S. Can you make Goose do the flop? Thank you for answering.
Well, Mr. Import, firstly, I don't think we should get Goose to do the flop because, quite frankly, I don't think he's got the moves.
What's the flop?
You want to see it?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. I'll just do a little bit.
Okay.
It's like that, but you jump around a fair bit.
It's like chicken arms.
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah, but it's more complex than that. More psychological stuff going on in your mind while you do it.
All right, well, as for your question, no, you do not need the internet to turn on a PS4 or an Xbox One.
Well, you do actually need to connect to the internet at least once, though, and download a patch for a new Xbox One. But after that, you can be offline as much as you like.
Alrighty then, well, I think that answers that question. So moving on to this one from the Riddler, who is in Sydney, New South Wales.
Why don't you give it a go? Give the flop a go. Yeah, I think I've shown you all I can teach you. The rest is up to you.
It's like chicken arms from what I could see.
Yeah, good job. Hey guys, for most games I play, I get to a point where I need an internet guide or walkthrough to help me progress. Is this considered cheating? Thanks. The Riddler, don't tell Batman.
Well, I'd say yes and no to that. It's kind of an admission of defeat when you have to look up a guide, and it does spoil the joy of figuring something out for yourself. So I'd say it's a mild form of cheating.
Yeah, I always feel a twinge of shame and noobiness if I ever have to resort to a guide. And, oh, excuse me. Hello, Bajo speaking.
Noob alert! Bajo uses guides! Guides are cheating! Noob alert!
Quite, Darren. As I was saying, sometimes games just completely stump you and you feel like you've tried everything and just can't figure it out. In those situations, I always blame the game for poor design. If I can't figure it out, it's the game's fault, not mine.
Sure, it's the game's fault, Bajo. Seriously though, I think if you're having a situation where you're not having fun and you're about to give up on the game altogether, then yeah, it's worth checking out a guide just to help you get through that one bit.
Yeah.
Guides are cheating!
Yes, try to use it only for the bit you're stuck on and then keep going on your own. It's definitely much more rewarding to figure things out for yourself.
All right, well, let's move on to this one from Arvish in Casula, New South Wales.
Guides are cheating, Bajo.
How do you make the rails move in Minecraft? Please, Darren, you're the best!
Well, Avish, since you like Darren so much, let's get him on the phone to answer that. I'll just give him a call. Lex, what's his number again? It's 1.
Noob detected!
What? No, Darren, we've moved on from that now.
Oh, okay then. Hello, Bajo and Hex.
Hey, Desmataz.
Don't call me that.
Okay, well, Avish here was just wondering, how do you make rails move in Minecraft? I totally know the answer, and so does Hex, but you're the expert, and you would just call anyway, so you might as well.
Well, thank you, Avish. As for making rails move, well, I assume you mean making a piece of track switch direction. To do that, you'll need some redstone dust, some track, and a button. Simply lay out the track in a T shape and have the redstone connecting to the intersection. Then connect the redstone to the button, and voila! The button will now cause the track to switch direction. It will only switch it temporarily, however. If you want the switch to last until you unswitch it, then you have to place a redstone torch on a block directly below the junction, like so, and then connect that to a button or switch.
Oh, thanks for that, Darren. But do you think maybe Avish was asking about how to make rails move carts?
Quite possibly, Hex. If you're talking about how to make carts move on tracks, then the easiest way is to use powered rail. To make powered rail, simply combine 6 gold ingots, a stick, and some redstone dust, like so, and connect a redstone torch to it to provide the power.
Well, I think that was a pretty comprehensive answer there, Darren. Thank you very much.
Anytime, Bajo, anytime.
All right, well, moving on to this one from the last medieval knight who is in the medieval castle, New South Wales.
I'd love to live in a castle.
Me too.
Wouldn't it be great? What would you call your castle? You know what I'd call mine?
Fort Hexington.
That's pretty good. I'd call mine Castle of the Sandwiches. Greetings, peasants. I wish to know one thing. Could you please review Castle Story? I saw a question last week and you showed the trailer. I found it awe-inspiring. That is all. From your liege, the last medieval knight. Decipher this code. Ha ha ha!
Oh, it's an ASCII sword. I collect swords, do you know that?
I do know that.
Well, kind Sir Knight, we're obviously keeping our eye on Castle Story since it does look pretty interesting, and I love castles too. It's still got quite a way to go in development though, so it wouldn't be fair to review it in its current state.
Yeah, but what we can say is at the moment we'd recommend holding off on purchasing it as it is in early access. It certainly looks promising, but it has lots of bugs and is missing a lot of the final features, which is understandable for an early access game.
Yeah, but as I said, we'll be keeping an eye on it and we'll aim to bring you the full review once it's either finished or at least a good representation of what the final game will be like. So, moving on to this one now from Pure Awesomeness in Brisbane, Queensland. I was wondering, is there any Little Big Planet games for the new PS Vita? I'm getting one soon and I'm a very big fan of LBP. Peace out. Hex is pure awesomeness. Bajo is alright.
What?
And Darren is the biggest noob in the whole universe.
Yeah. There is indeed a Little Big Planet for the Vita Pure Awesomeness, and for such a creative series, it's got the rather uncreative title Little Big Planet PS Vita.
We actually reviewed it when it first came out, and I really liked it. I gave it a 9.
Yeah, me too. I gave it 8.5 out of 10. And of course, if you want to watch that review, you can find it on our website in the review section under L for Little Big Planet.
I'd actually say it's one of the best games on the Vita, so hopefully you enjoy it with your new console. But moving on to this one now from JD01, who is in the trenches outside Australia.
In World of Tanks, please Bajo and Hex, tell me your tanks so far and what tank tree you're hoping to invest in. Personally, I'm doing the American Heavy tree. T1 Heavy, M6 Heavy, T29, T32, etc. P.S. Darren, there is no such thing as the Ultra Super Mega Heavy tanks. I think you mean the LOL Tractor. Bajo, do these. Way! Oh!
A kitty mouth.
Thanks, GGSP. You guys are the best.
Little kitty mouth. Thanks for writing in, JD01. Each nation's tanks have profound strengths and weaknesses, and figuring out which is best for you is a big part of the game.
Indeed, Hex. Personally, I found the British tanks to be too slow. Oh, so slow. But I've been having a lot of fun with the American light tanks. They're speedy and perfect for some tactical trolling. Gotta go fast.
Personally, I'm more of a sniper, so I've been enjoying the German tanks. Their weapons are really accurate, and you can hide in a bush and then devastate the opposing force.
Enemy armor is damaged.
As for the LOL Tractor, it's a lot of fun, isn't it? It has a slightly better view range than the other Tier 1 tanks, so you can really get the drop on the opposition. Another fine trollmobile.
All right, well, we've got time for one more question today, and let's stick with the World of Tanks theme and go with this one from Flame of Doom, who's in Adelaide, South Australia. Hi, Good Game SP! I was wondering how to request fire on an enemy in World of Tanks Xbox 360 edition. Thanks!
No problemo, the Flame of Doom. It's quite easy to request fire on a specific tank. You just aim at them, then tap the left bumper. Then that icon will light up, letting everyone know you want them destroyed.
It's worth doing. Even if a tank has just one hit point left, it can still move and fire, so it's still a threat. It's best to focus your firepower and pick off enemy tanks one at a time. But that's all the time we have for this week, so keep on sending in those questions here. Now, for us, back to the studio.
Let's flop dance our way there.
Okay, yeah.
So many questions,
Great
so many
questions.
answers.
Trials Fusion is the third game in this acrobatic motorcycle series, but unlike most racing games, it's not about being the first across the finish line. There are competitive parts, but the main game is all about beating a series of tricky obstacle courses.
Oh, it's good to be back in Trials mode, and just like the last game, Fusion is all about managing your throttle and knowing when to shift your balance so you land perfectly every time.
Affirmative. My robotic circuits are perfect for complex physics calculations like this. The ramp is lying at a 74-degree angle, which means I'll have enough airtime for 2 flips.
Nice one, Darren. Yes, stunts are one of the game's new features. By nudging the right stick, you can do all sorts of stunts. They look great, but you have to make sure you're back on your bike before you land, or this will happen.
I can't say I enjoyed the stunts as much as I thought I would. I found my rider would often twitch around awkwardly when I was trying to get him into position.
Well, sure, the stunt mechanics aren't as polished as the rest of the controls, but I still had a lot of fun doing all those tricks. Some of the other courses can be so rigid that it's good to be able to mess around a bit on the stunt challenges.
I do think the game makes good use of the futuristic setting. The high-tech cities are filled with cool machines like flying drones and rotating platforms. Oh, and your new computer coach sounds so sophisticated.
Hi, it's me again, Cindy. Let's have fun today.
Oh, you mean Cindy? Darren, it sounds like you've got a bit of a crush on her.
Negative. I merely admire her operational expertise.
Right, well, back to the game. They've thrown in ATVs this time around.
Look out for abruptly ending roads.
And there's a good mix of desert tracks where you can really take advantage of their extra muscle.
Yeah, the ATVs are cool, but I just feel like they haven't done enough with this sequel. It almost feels like an expansion or something.
Well, I understand you might feel like that because Trials Evolution was a perfect game. The last one, it was so perfect, it's a really tough act to follow.
Yeah, but should you make a whole new game if you don't have anything new to bring to it? I blitzed through all of the easy levels and then I hit a brick wall with the later ones where I was retrying checkpoints constantly. Ah. Oh no! Okay, this time. So unfair. So frustrating.
Yes, but that's what I love about Trials. It is difficult, but you know every jump is possible. And with each run, you get better and better until you finally perfect it enough to nab that elusive gold medal. Worth it.
Affirmative. Oh, and don't forget the skill challenges, like the one where you're trying to launch your rider off his bike as far as you can. Fly, little man.
Alright, yes, I definitely had fun with those. And look, I did enjoy this game. I just wish they'd added a little bit more that was new and different to this sequel. It was just hard to be excited about. So I'm giving it 7.
I think the user-generated content extends the life of the game, and I still like this formula, so I'm going to give it 8.5 out of 10. Well, sadly, that's all the time we have for this week, but we can't go anywhere until we find out the answer to your challenge, Darren.
Affirmative. I challenged the Spawnlings to identify who piloted the SS Dolphin in the Pikmin games. And the answer is Captain Olimar!
Cute little guy he is. Next week on the show, we're going on an adventure as we return to Middle-earth in Lego The Hobbit.
What are you going to do now, wizard?
Boil 'em, mash 'em, stick 'em in a stew.
No, Darren, no, not hobbits.
Negative. Potatoes. Boil 'em, mash 'em, stick 'em in a stew. Boil 'em, mash 'em, stick 'em in a stew. Boil 'em, mash 'em, stick 'em in a stew.
Till next time, may all your games be good ones. Hex out.
Bajo out.
Darren out.
Darren, you're kind of hobbit-sized. You're a robot. You could be a robobbit. A horror-bobbit.
Negative. I'm full-sized. Besides, I don't have very hairy feet.
Yeah, he doesn't have hairy feet, he's got a base plate.